Hi everyone, welcome to Border Tanks with stewiejp. I'm Stewie and this is some replays. 2.5 Batchat games. You'll see what I mean when you get to the third one by the half. In the first replay we've got Team Efficiency Skell and he's platooning with his old mates TE Party and Beachdaz Bro from Anzaf Clan. Beachdaz Bro has featured in a few of my videos, as has Skell. And they're on Himmelsdorf. And they're in the mighty auto-loading platoon. 2 Batchats and a TVP T5051, the new Czech Tier 10 auto loader, which is one of the favourites of Tugboat from MI6 Clan. Unfortunately, Skell gets tracked pretty early on, going out wide onto the railway lines. You can see he's running food in his Batchat, and he's also going with all standard ammunition, which is APCR, no heat at all. Yeah, Skell initially sent me this replay as a why is this an ace, and we worked out that somehow he spots a grill in about 5 minutes, I think, and that contributes greatly to his higher score. But not one to sit back and snipe like a girl. He's going straight in. He's got Party with him and Beachdaz coming up through the railway lines, and they're aiming to absolutely dominate the railway side of Himmelsdorf. Artie does a good thing by getting rid of the grill. Now that kill on the grill was spotted by Skell, which is what's contributed to his big score. But now he's hiding behind a little railway shed as he reloads. Beachdaz unfortunately gets taken out. I'm sure he was going to do something very, very heroic, but he was just a little bit out of luck, and Party gets taken out early as well by the Leopard. As we wait for Skell to reload, the score's 3-2, so it's not disaster yet, but it's never good when your platoon mates die like that. As anyone who platoons with me knows, I often die early, but we've found that big German Tier 10 artillery that killed Beachdaz, and he's taken revenge. And he's looking for some sneaky shots under that railway carriage into the new Scorpion. He gets rid of the new Scorpion. He's got 2 bullets left in the clip, and he's searching for that T92 before the T92 puts a big shell into him. That picks up his 4th kill for Skell as he reloads again. Now Himmelsdorf might not often be the best map in the world for a Batchat, but in this replay you can see that Skell's done more than his fair share of the damage already, and he's making the most of a pretty good opportunity down the southwest side of the map. Now that RHM, I just saw the RHM turn the other way. I don't know if he's nearly reloaded. It looks like no. Now he's aiming at Skell. So he needs to be careful, because that RHM will take half of his remaining health off him. But it looks like, looking at the minimap, there's plenty there to take care of that RHM. So Skell's going to run around and try and flank this E75, who's on 700 hit points, but not for long. One shot and unlucky not to pick up the kill. And now it's a case of cleaning up. And this is where later in the game the Batchats often do really well, when with its speed it can run around and relocate and get into advantageous positions against the enemy tanks. Well, there's 2,000 hit points of damage to be had on this Type 4 Heavy. Looks like he's nearly reloaded. He has. He puts a shot into Skell, but now he's got 12 seconds where he can reload the big Japanese heavy tank, and in that time Skell's team are just going to clean him up and take out the last tank, which is the low, for the win. As we look at the post-game battle results, you can see he's picked up a mastery badge, and that will be, you'll see in this when we get to the second page. When he said to me, why is this an ace, I think it was because of some of the spotting damage he did. He got some of these minor medals like he normally did. You can see all the tanks that he shot, damaged, spotted and killed. 3,889 damage, but when you look into it, he got 3,000 spotting damage, and on the grill you can see that there, he detected it and he got 1,800 spotting damage on that grill, which vastly contributed to the ace tanker, I guess, because I've seen scores before of about 4,000 damage, and it hasn't been an ace tanker. Unlucky game for Beach Days and TE Party, but lucky for them. Skell carried the game hard and come on to a good win, and even made a little bit of profit. That's probably down to the fact that he didn't fire any premium ammunition. He just tends to use normal ammunition in his Batchat. As we go on to the second replay from 2.5 Batchat games, it's Chunky04. Chunky from What University Southeast Asian Clan, and he's platooning with IMC Jimmy from 1ARX and Jezeliko 1978 YETI from 1ARX as well. MI6 has been playing, or not so much lately, but in the past have played a lot of clan wars against 1ARX. 1ARX and MI6 both tend to enjoy the same time zones on the global map at tier 8 and 10, and there's always a bit of good-natured banter between the two clans, and some friendly messages afterwards. It's always a good fight, and it's always a good laugh when we fight against 1ARX. But in this game, it's just a normal battle. Chunky in his Batchat, Jimmy in his T54, and Jezeliko in his Japanese tank, the 121. I think it's Japanese. No, it's Chinese. But anyway, Chunky's getting a couple of cheap shots into the FV4202, the tier 8 premium British tank. Which, if you look my stats up, got a 100% win rate in that tank. Just a little side note. I've only played a handful of games in it though, but it's not a bad tank to play. Don't think it's as bad as everybody thought when they first gave it away. Now Chunky is doing what I often do here. He's seeing there's not much action happening there, so since he's fired a couple of shots, he's taken that opportunity to reload and to relocate. He's trying to get some spots. Not many of the enemy tanks have been spotted. In fact, the only tank that has been spotted is the one that Jimmy just killed, the FV4202. Now this is a place where Gunny B likes to sit from MR6. It is in tanks like the Batchat or the T54 lightweight when we're doing clan wars, to try and get some vision over the central part of the map around here. You can sort of, from where Chunky is, you can sort of work out where all the enemy are, and when it's in a clan war situation, it's a bit different because you don't know which tanks you're going to be up against until you've spotted them, which is a part of the game that I think is pretty cool. Now Chunky's there with, you can see his mate Jimmy's gone down by the water, and it looks like the enemy haven't really pushed anything towards the Magic Forest. It looks like, going by the lack of tanks spotted, maybe they're doing a big camp, or maybe they're doing a 1-2 line push. If they're doing a 1-2 line push, Chunky and his mates probably need to get in and flank them, because there's only the Scorpion, the IS-3, the T54-100 and the Type 59 defending this area on the minimap, and if their IS-7 and E-100 and other big tanks are going to be pushing, those tier 8 tanks are all going to be in a fair bit of trouble. So Chunky's getting some cheap shots into the side of the E-100s. Unlucky to miss that shot. That was about an inch away. That one wasn't so well aimed, but he's got to be careful of that IS-7. That IS-7, doesn't matter where he hits him, he's going to pen it, and he gets a bit of value out of the last shot of his clip as he reloads, and taking advantage of the Batchat's speed and mobility while he reloads to try and get a different view of the enemy and a different angle on the enemy tanks. And there he spotted the Scorpion G and the VK4502A, which is the tier 8 heavy tank. Unfortunately, Jimmy gets done by the T92 at the same time as Chunky's team's T92 takes out that big German E100. Desperately waiting to reload there, but he got the final shot in to get rid of the AMX 5100, the auto-loading French tier 8 tank, as Jezeliko comes around in his 121 to lend a hand out. Looks like that IS-7 is cut through the middle of those two hills there. Takes a shot from the north, and while his gun's facing that way, Chunky is going to try and get a bit more value out of his Batchat's clip. Unfortunately, the first two shots don't do a great deal, but then he sees the T-34 and thinks, I've only got 2 shots left, I might as well put them into the T-34. Unlucky that not to pick up the kill on the T-34, but the Scorpion G did his job. Pointless, that's a pretty good name for a player in the Scorpion G. He did his good job by getting rid of that Tier 8 Premium American Heavy Tank. And now Chunky's driving around and trying to use his vision again, mobility. There is still a big artillery on the enemy side, and he really needs to make sure he keeps moving around so that Artie can't shoot him. A lot of Arties like shooting Batchats because they often one-shot them, and even though he's at full health with 1800 hit points, if the T-92 hits him, then he's dead. It's not going to be an issue for the T-92. Takes one shot from the Scorpion. It looks like it was high explosive, and then he sees the CDC. So there's another thing, it doesn't matter where you shoot that CDC, you're going to get some free damage. The last shot goes wide, and Chunky reloads again. And even though it's still reasonably early days, the score's only 5-3. Chunky's dished out over 3,500 damage, but importantly he's only got 13 shells left. So he needs to position himself where he can't get flanked. He's down to 600 hit points, and again he's using his mobility to run around. It's obvious now that the whole enemy side is in this southwestern corner, and they're doing a camp. I'm not sure why. It was XVM's given the enemy side the advantage as far as chance to win goes, so it's not often, you know, especially on the Southeast Asian server, you often see people giving up before the game's begun because of the chance to win that XVM might have given them. But you wouldn't think the enemy side would have done that because XVM was strongly on their side. But that's no deterrent to Chunky. Chunky is now going to go wide, get a totally different angle on some of these tanks, which is a good move. Looking at where all Chunky's tanks are on Chunky's side, they're all on this side of the hill, and they're all obviously playing the peek-a-boom game and poke and shoot and dodging over and under around corners. And so it's a good chance that most of these enemy tanks, their guns will be facing this way. They won't necessarily be facing up this way. So the Type 59 and Chunky is coming down and we've spotted the big Death Star. Now he doesn't want to get hit in the face by that, so he puts a shot into him and then relocates again, wants to make sure he's not spotted anymore. Looks like the artillery, the T-92 on Chunky's side, fired and missed. You can see on the damage counter, Chunky's up to 4,000 damage now. That's already a ripper of a game, as he gets spotted again, and the score comes back. The enemy are coming back now at 6-5. Chunky needs to do something here. What's he going to do? Do a few circles. The IS-7's a one shot for Chunky. The CDC's probably two shots. The Scorpion might be a one shot if he high rolls. At 6 apiece now. Great shot by Artie to get rid of that CDC. Even though it's only a Tier 8 tank, it's still a tank you got to get rid of. Chunky looking for that VK, looking for side shots into him. Goes a little bit wide, that shot. It was a bit of a clutch shot because that house was going to be in the way. Chunky really has to bear in mind he's only got 600 hit points. I don't have an IS-7. I don't know how much damage the IS-7 does in one shot, but it's probably not that far off 600 hit points. It's probably 4 or 5. Puts a shot in to the dirt near the IS-7, and that IS-4 cops a shot from the Death Star. The FV215B 183, one of my favourite Tier 10 derpy tank destroyers, the British tank destroyer. Now Chunky's got an even 10 shells left in the clip, so he's choosing to reload so that if it comes down to the last clip, it's going to be a full clip. It's not going to be an odd amount of shells. There looks like there's still a fair amount of hit points up for grabs on the enemy side. Looks like he's 3/4 of the way through his reload. CDC does a great job getting rid of that T-30. That T-30 can be a pretty tough tank to crack at times. But Chunky's side's now in the position where they know exactly where all the enemy tanks are. It looks like the CDC spotting that T92 down in the bottom left corner, and the CDC also has another medium with him, probably the T44. And Chunky's hoping his sixth sense doesn't go off as he tries to shoot into that FV215B183, the Death Star. He's picked up 4,355 damage already, with 3 shells left in the clip. Artillery's letting him know that he's going to be a while before he reloads. And now he's probably in a position where he could kill this Death Star now. With 3 shells, that would be enough to take the 743 hit points off the British tank destroyer, or kill that IS-7. What's he going to do? 1 shot into the Death Star, 2 shots, picks up his second kill of the game, and he's got 1 shell left. But the IS-4 kills the IS-7 in the end. Chooses not to reload at this point, which is probably not a bad idea. He wants to get one shell off and then probably relocate for the reload. The Waffle Traeger is on pretty high health. I think the Scorpion is as well. The Tier 9 German tank destroyer fires a shot and misses, and Chunky does exactly the same. Now with 5 shells left, the score's 12-9, so he's not in any trouble by any stretch of the imagination. He wants to keep these enemy lit. That T92 is probably reloaded by now, and he would have to be aiming in those 2 squares, J1 and K1 on the map. As Chunky continues his reload, Jezelenko, your beauty, has moved forward just to try and get a spot maybe on the enemy arty or the tank destroyers. There's the artillery, and Chunky's reloaded, puts 1 into it, and the kill gets taken by the T44-100. It kills the Scorpion G, and with the second last clip in his bullet, he takes out the Waffenträger Auf Panzer IV, the Tier 9 German tank destroyer. And look at those battle results. A massive game from Chunky. Of course, he got a mastery badge, patrol duty, for looking at all those tanks that he spotted. Heaps of tanks that he spotted. Confederate for hitting more enemy vehicles than anybody else on his team, and of course the high caliber for having a hell of a good game. As you look at the second page, he top scored comfortably with 5,760 hit points of damage, 4 kills, 1,240 base experience. That's a massive amount of base experience, 1,240. You can see he fired 29 of his 30 shells. Quite a few misses. Only 18 did damage, 21 hit, but there was a couple of blind shots and there was a couple of clutch shots where a tank was moving behind a building or undercover, and he only had 1 or 2 shells left, so I thought, why not take those blind shots? It's something I've started to do, and it might affect your hit ratio, but you'd be surprised how many of them go through. But it's a massive amount of damage, 5,760. Blocked a little bit and spotted 1,805 damage. Tidy little profit without a premium account, 7,000 profit. That's not too bad for a Batchat. Batchats are notoriously expensive to run. Had he had a premium account, he would have made 37,000. But that's a massive game from the old mate Chunky04 from what university? Southeast Asian clan, an awesome clan. Seemed like a great bunch of guys, and recently they've been doing some tournaments and platoons with some of my MI6 guys, which is always good for a laugh. As we come to our last game in this video, 2.5 Batchat games. It's the old mate Skell again from YETI clan, and he's on what's this called? Arctic Region. Again, he's driving his Batchat around. He loves his Batchat, Skell, and he's already spotted 3 enemy medium tanks. Make that 4, 5. There's 6 tanks now going up that line. One of them's a Tier 8 heavy. The rest are all high tier medium tanks, and he gets spotted, so he gets out of the way. And this is one of those oh my god games, without giving too much away. As I have a mouthful of coffee, Skull's moving back around towards the base. He's already lit 6 or 7 tanks up there in the northern side. it looks like he lit 3 tier 10 heavy tanks, a tier 8 heavy tank, and maybe something else as well. So it looks like there's a fair bit up there. So he's moving around the western flank just to try and get a little bit of different angle on all those medium tanks. If all those medium tanks rush them, they're going to be in deep trouble. He's only got a Leopard and AMX 30 for support. The 50B looks like he might be coming his way, and of course the ubiquitous Scorpion Gs, which seem to be absolutely everywhere at the moment. The AMX 30 looks like he's copped a bit of a smack in the mouth by something pretty big, because he's down a fair bit of health. And Skell keeps running around in his Batchat, just trying to work out what angle is the best angle to take these enemy tanks on. Now that IS-3 looks like he's lost nearly 1,000 hit points already. And that IS-3, the Object 140 has been spotted coming with him. As looking at the minimap, some of the tanks on Skell's team are now moving back into a bit of a position where they can support him, which is exactly the right thing to do. If 6 tanks have been spotted, it's not inconceivable that there's about 8 tanks there. Looks like there's about 5 tanks pushing the heavy line. T-57 on the enemy side, looks like he's gone full YOLO straight down the middle towards that T-34, but at the moment it looks like no one's going to stop him. Now Skell's been unfortunate, he hasn't been able to fire a shot yet, but his team is getting into position. That AMX 30, who's on reasonably low health, is back there with the 50B for a bit of fire support. Of course there's a Leopard in the grill as well. Keep an eye on that grill. Without giving too much away, keep an eye on that grill. So it's a bit of a slow start to this game, and probably not too much to talk about. Skell's team were winning 1-0, now they're down 1-2. And they've lost a couple of tier 10 tanks. It looks like the E100 killed the T92. The T92 must have been down here somewhere, I'd say, because the E100 was here. And so he must have been spotted from there. I thought he might have been counted when I just saw him die, but anyway, artillery drivers, what do you do? Here we go. He has a look at that M48 Patton, a tank I still don't have, but I've had it unlocked for a while, and it looks like it's a pretty good tank. It's down to 600 hit points, that Patton. But the heavy line is slowly crumbling, so something needs to happen on this medium line. Skell's putting his health on the line here, and these lucky shots that he's trying to put in just aren't being lucky at all. He pulls back to reload, and they're down 1-4. There's an Object 430 right down that valley. As he's reloading, the other tanks kill him, and they also kill that IS-3, which was at relatively low health. The score is 3-4. They're only down by 1 tank now, but they're slowly getting chipped away from this side. These heavy tanks on the enemy side have comprehensively won this battle. Now all these medium tanks, they probably need to focus their efforts this way. It's 4-7. Someone does pick up the Patton. That was the artillery. It looked like it might have been a blind shot, as Skell gets a little bit more vision as he's now fully reloaded, but they outspot him, and it's the CAX, the Centurion Action X, the new tier 10 British medium tank that spotted him by the looks of it. But he thinks it's a little bit dangerous to push around there if there's going to be 3 medium tanks there. Looking for some cheap shots on these heavies before these heavies roll straight into the artilleries. Gets rid of the M103. But with only 2 shells left in the clip, it's going to be a very long reload once he undoes his clip. Puts a shot into the T-57 Heavy. He kindly stops, and then Skell shoots him again, but he's out of shells, and that was a beautiful bounce from off the T-57. 6-11. It's not looking that good. He's only picked up 1 kill. He's only done 1,600 damage, but Skell is in a pretty good position to keep these tanks lit up and to maybe carry the game. The grill takes out the Object 140. Very dangerous tank, the Object 140, on any day. as he's about 3/4 of the way through his reload. Just sitting back there. He's about to go forward to try and get some more lights. That enemy Centurion Action X drowns. Skull takes out the Tier 9, the new Tier 9 Russian heavy tank. With 4 shots left in his clip, he's just trying to light these tanks. T-57 heavy is probably 1 or 2 shots. 2 shots. Now he's 1 shot. T-57 fires. Skull fires again. Takes him out of the game. Clawing this battle back. He's clawing it back. They were down by about 4 tanks not so long ago. Now they're only down by 1 tank. 10-11. YETI is still saying that the odds are on Team Efficiency Skull's side. He's got 2 shells left in the clip. And looking at the tanks that are left on the enemy side, only 1 Tier 10 tank left, which is a Conqueror gun carrier. 2 Tier 9s, and what? Who kills him? His own teammate, the Grill. Player 314159. What the fuck? That's what everyone says. What the fuck in the thing? That's him. I've paused the replay there. Get a good look at him. See if you can remember those numbers. I don't want to turn this video into a Name a Knucklehead video, which I haven't done for a while. But that's who killed the Batchat. And in that situation where you're down by a tank and the only enemy tanks left are 2 Tier 8s and the rest are high tier artilleries, the Batchat's the perfect tank to keep in the game to spot all those tanks. 4 tanks like the Grill, the tank destroyer. Now this guy, player 3141592653, is not a dill. He's played over 10,000 games. He's gotten to Tier 10 and he's got a WN8 rating of 1991. But I don't know, maybe the kettle was boiled. Maybe the cup of tea was ready. But player 314 decided killing the best tank on the game, and the Batchat generally is the best tank on the game, especially in a situation like this where you can outvision those artilleries as well as the low and the Indian Panzer. I have no idea why anybody would do that. Anyway, maybe player 314, which is a bit of an odd name, I guess. Maybe he doesn't like Team Efficiency. Maybe he doesn't like Skull. Maybe he's big on the forums. Maybe he's just an absolute plonker. He's already said in the chat that he doesn't care that people are going to be screenshotted and dob him into wargaming. But what an absolute plonker. Anyway, everyone, thanks for watching these 2.5 Batchat games. I've enjoyed making the video, even though the throat's starting to dry up a bit. I hope you've enjoyed watching it. Take care, everyone. Thanks very much, Chunky and Skull, for the replays. We love Batchat replays. We love auto-loading replays. Plenty of more replays coming this week. Thanks very much, everyone. Take care, and I'll see you all next time.